Welcome to all of you in today's session on financial wellness. The speaker for the session is Mr. Aravind Thondan from Singularis Wealth Private Limited. So without any further delay, I would like to invite you, Aravind.
Thank you so much, the entire SSI team, for having me over here. What I did is that try to keep it as simple as possible. I have focused on 2-3 important takeaways which you can take it back home. It helps you to create the financial freedom in your own way. I'll kind of start with the basics. Like when you get into a car, what do you do first? So that's a seat belt. So what can be a safety belt or a seat belt for our dependents back home? Let's assume I'm sending 100 rupees back home. Because of that 100, somebody's getting educated or, the parents are living and all of that. Now one fine day I'm not able to send that money. Then think of the struggle, financial struggle they have to go through. That is like a scenario of a death. There will be emotional loss and there will be financial loss. Emotional loss, nobody can do anything about it because nobody can replace a person. But money can be replaced through a proper term insurance. I'm sure all of you would have ensured your bike is insured because cops catches us, right? But car is done. But family, we don't think, who's going to ask us after we are dead? I wish he had done something. Think about it, right? So that's a seat belt. So what is term insurance? There are many forms of insurance. I would suggest don't touch any of that. Take up your cheapest term insurance, cheapest. That typically if you have a parents who are dependent on you, how much money they would need, you can put a number to it, what gives you a comfort. And plus there will be a earnings-based calculation which will happen that the portals will do, but go for a pure term insurance. Don't even look for return of premium. Insurance is end of the day, it's expense. It's not an investment. Because it will go to the dependents, it's for the seat belt. So there is term insurance giving them the money. But what if there is a permanent disability? So I'm not dead, I'm not able to go to work, and still I have lost my income. But I'm alive. Now I need more money to take care of myself, my dependents, right? Because I'm disabled, nobody is going to give us free petrol or free electricity. We need money. So that accidental policies which comes at throwaway price, maybe a Starbucks coffee twice or thrice if you go, you can get a accidental cover policy. That will only help in terms of permanent disabilities. And I wish none of us meets with an accident or death, we all live longer, but that gives you peace of mind, right? You've ensured your dependents are taken care financially. And most importantly, you should tell your dependents, I have done this too. Right? The many problem today is nobody tells and then something happens, there's so much of unclaimed money. So it's important you have these conversations at home. So first is term, accidental. And the third part is emergency cover. Today we all live in an uncertain world. We don't know which way financial challenges will come. Not necessarily it has to come to us. It can be to our immediate family members or friends. It can be multiple scenarios, right? We don't know. In such scenarios, it's good to have 6 months to 1 year of your living expenses. Let's say you spend 10,000 rupees a month. So 6 months of living expenses, how much? 60,000. So if you think you're in a senior level, you're not going to get job very fast because you're doing a niche job, then you take it to 1 year, right? Keep that money in bank FD, it's okay. Please don't use that to buy an iPhone. That's important. Yes or no? You buy the iPhone and there is an emergency, again you will borrow from others. Or you will swipe your credit card. So that component which is called emergency money has to be used only for emergency. No other reasons. So this way what happens? You protected your dependents. You protected yourself through an accidental policy, if in any case of permanent disability, right? And you've taken care of your liquidity by keeping 6 months to 1 year of living expenses. So if all these three things taken care, imagine the peace of mind. And then now safety being said, now all this, okay, how do I make more money? Money is always scarce, never enough. What is one important strategy through which you can make a lot of money? This concept is called 8th wonder of the world. That's power of compounding. Compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Now I'll tell you why it is 8th wonder of the world. So there's a fund, a mutual fund, was launched in India in the year 1995. So somebody say, let's say you got 1 lakh to deploy. You put my 1 lakh there and then you've forgotten. Like how you buy land our ancestors and they forget it. They think I'll give it to my grandson types, right? Somebody invested I'm sure you'll have some piece of land is there for 30 years like that, right? Ancestral, never sell it, right? But they always enjoy seeing the value. But you never sell it. So one such thing, let's assume somebody bought a land worth 1 lakh, 1995, October, and then left it. So what do you think, how much value it would have become? In Bangalore, let's assume. A small piece of land, which was worth 1 lakh. 3.48 crores. And can you believe this? Where is 1 lakh, 3.48 crores? You pay 10% capital gains, 34 lakhs gone, remaining entire amount is in your pocket with a click of button. Now that's not it. I will tell you now what about SIP. I don't have 1 lakh, I'm going to do 10,000. Okay? So since inception, if you do a monthly SIP of 10,000 into the same fund, you would have invested 34 lakhs 20,000 to be on. This data is as per April 30th, and this is a live fund which is running. Okay, and that's a CAGR of 22% year on year. But the 22 did not happen year on year. There were times that fund also tanked by 30%, 40%. But if you had enough patience, from house to relationship to everything, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but investment intraday. Instagram world, right? And so many influencers. I sometimes wonder, un log itna paisa bana rahe to, so many good people, right? They want everybody to make money. Fact, it doesn't happen. If he's making money, why will he earn from YouTube or from Instagram? The strategy, what I'm talking about, what you have to take home most importantly after the seatbelt analysis is power of compounding. You can have the best of the fund in the same fund. You can invest. If you made an entry and exit at 2 years, 3 years, you're never going to experience power of compounding. Compounding is boring. Compounding is patience. Compounding is like going for a walk, run every day morning. All of us cannot do it. But then if we do it right, then we have the fun what Warren Buffett is having. If somebody gives you a very exciting investment proposal, just walk out of it. Or don't put your money where you don't understand how the return is generated. Otherwise, what happens in the French talk when I listen to people, hey, he made 25%, he made 30%. Please ask, how is it coming? Now you must ask, 21 crore kaise hua? How did he make that money? Nobody is asking. Guess how did it happen? What are those people? Somebody has to manage. So when you invest in a fund, mutual fund and an equity mutual fund, this was a mid-cap fund, example what I gave, right? So there will be a fund manager who will manage the fund. To give insight to the fund manager, there will be analysts who will study pharma sector, who will study automobiles, who will study many things, technology. They think these are all sunrise sectors, these are the mega trends. A lot of investment analysis goes in, which if you, as you become more interested in this, you will learn. It will be a very, very exciting thing. And that excitement comes when you have your money in it. Otherwise, no fun. Right? Now I gave you example of 10,000, which is not a big deal, right? Okay, you can start with 5, you can start with 1,000. But it's important you start. Because the power of compounding will not happen, okay, I will start when I turn 40 years and then I'll put 5 lakhs. No, it will not work. You have to keep some money to benefit from this compounding strategy. But starting has to happen, right? So there will be a fund manager, CIOs, very, very talented people, very experienced. And there is a team which works to manage your money. Because of that consistent effort of these fund managers and the strong team, these funds deliver return. Okay, there is team, but team milker, together, where have they deployed the money? That should be the next logical question, right? Let's look at the listed companies, which are basically matured companies, right? Great businesses there are. And their businesses generate profit. As a shareholder, they become very rich. And you can also be rich as a shareholder. Then the question is, I don't have time to buy the direct stock. I put it in a fund. These fund managers' job is to identify such great leaders, so many amazing entrepreneurs, let's say N.R. Narayan Murthy, Anand Mahindra, Ratan Tata, Mukesh Ambani, all of them. The kind of wealth they have generated is mind-boggling. So this fund manager's job is to identify these great entrepreneurs and invest in the companies which they run. So now what happened? You're also, as a investor, you're also a shareholder. Your money is run by who's of the world. Okay? So in one fund, there are about 60 plus companies. There are sectors in the same fund where the fund managers have allocated. For example, financial services, healthcare, fast-moving consumer goods, capital goods, consumer service, construction, oil and gas, information technology, consumer durables, power, service, consumption, materials, automobile, auto components, reality and chemicals. How many sectors? What we will do, put 10,000 and forget it. See the kind of work goes behind that. Because of this kind of allocation of the capital and managing it on a regular basis efficiently, over a period of time, wealth gets generated. So I told you, always if somebody gives you an exciting proposal, you should ask them from where the money is coming. Is this a sustainable way to generate wealth? There are something called as a regulation, the SEBI. Even how much ever they like a company in a regular fund, they cannot put more than 10% in a single company. All very well regulated. Now, the company is fine, promoters are great, but what do you think? Whatever returns I told you, it was past 25 years, past 30 years. What do you think going forward? I'm going to put money today, right? I already told you past performance is not the guarantee for the future performance. But how is it likely? Can somebody tell me what is the current position of India globally in terms of country, number one country in terms of GDP and all of that? Above us is Japan, and then Germany, China, United. But the gap is very massive. But our country is growing. So that means all these companies run by these great founders are going to make money. As a shareholder, they're going to make money. And you have the opportunity as a unit holder to make money. And when they run businesses, they don't run businesses saying that 3 months ke liye, 3 years ke liye. No. They want to build institutions which last beyond them. And a lot of these are publicly traded companies. So wealth creation is given. The future is bright. And we have great entrepreneurs, great fund houses, and great funds and fund managers. Don't you think we should really think long-term and invest consistently to create that crores of wealth for ourselves? Are we supposed to take an action or not? We have a choice. All this India going from 5th place to 1st place maybe in next 5, 6, 7, 8 years makes no sense if you have not invested in India. Problem today is social pressure that eats away a lot of our wealth. You don't even have to have money to buy a thing today. That means you're leveraging your future. That is why I said we keep running out of money. Because we already bought it for our 3 years earnings also now itself. With that much EMI will go, right? If you want to buy an iPhone, I will create that corpus and buy. If it is 1 lakh rupees, 1.5, 2 lakh, whichever model you buy, I'll make sure that I know every year so and so time they will come. I'll do an SIP in a debt fund. That you can also park your emergency funds. You can build your holiday corpus. You can build, if you want to buy your automobile, you can plan about it. But now the problem is, house is not a problem. All of us need to have one house. But the EMI of 20 years is a serious problem. When you buy a house, you only look at, I get 100 rupees a month. My EMI is 30 rupees. I can manage. But if you put that entire 25 years term or 20 years term in an Excel and see the value of the house what you're going to buy and the EMI you're going to pay, and then decide this EMI makes sense or not. Now, for some of you already bought it, your immediate goal is to try to get rid of that EMI as early as possible. Because the reverse of EMI is going to be SIP, you can create that kind of wealth. Nothing wrong with EMI, but paying it for longer duration is problematic. That makes you work for the bank, not for yourself. So you set a target to yourself. At least 50% of the value I will try to use as a down payment. I'll earn that kind of money and I'll buy that. And then I'll pay the home loan in 5, 6 years and close it. We work with many clients and family. When I interact deeply, the problem is not work stress. It's this financial stress makes it look like the work is causing more stress. If you're fully free from financial pressure, you remove that financial load from your brain and keep it and come to work and see how the work goes. If you do an analysis, it will be visible to you. So credit card, loans, if you don't manage it well, you cannot benefit from power of compounding. You have to look at your expense, your lifestyle. Just do an exercise and see where your money is going the most. Is it because of social pressure? Because more liability means your time is held by somebody else. More freedom means you have the control of your time. And life, if time is in your control, you have everything in your control. So wealth is not narrowed to only money. People say money is not everything. We all know what it is. So let's accept wealth can be made by everybody. Even with 1,000 rupees a month, we can create crores of wealth. But the fundamentals has to be right. I leave it with the most important formula. So how traditionally savings works? Income minus expenses, left is savings. But do income minus savings equals to expense, you will manage it very well. That's the formula. If your next increment, when it comes that increment, you put it for savings by default. Lifestyle will not change meaningfully. You'll still maintain the same lifestyle. But when the compounding happens, it gives you so much freedom. Everybody loves spending, right? But for that, we have to build that kind of a wealth to enjoy, right? And thank you so much, all of you, for giving your wonderful time. Thank you so much. Thank you.